This is Casey,
And Coach Tom.
and this is Shot Science Overtime number 190.
Holy mackerel. Oh,
All right, so this is our live show that we have most every Sunday at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Remember, this is not a short tutorial video. This is kind of an opportunity for us to get to talk to you guys, probably for a little bit extended a period of time. So if it's not your thing, you can get out now. That's totally cool. Go check out some of our other videos that are in our video library, and that's fine. But if you want to talk to us, if you want to have some questions answered, that would be awesome. We got Denvi Star, who's our buddy from Moscow, who's here already saying hello, guys. King Edit saying hi. Amit saying hi. Awesome. Early
hello
people.
to you guys. That's great.
Bleach saying hi. Cool. So great to have you guys here. Make sure that this is where you want to be. Make sure you guys go check out all of our social media stuff. We're Shot Science and everything. You can check out shotscience.com for all of our shirts and stuff, like our Naismith is my homeboy shirt or our regular Shot Science shirts. And we would love to have you check that out. Go check out the All Access area where we have really in-depth tutorial stuff that goes even further than our YouTube tutorials. And that would be awesome. We got a lot of people here now. Jasminder saying hi. Harry Greeny saying hi. Ahmad saying, hey guys. Deceased Bottom saying hi from Michigan. And CJ Kareem.
All right.
Awesome. So it's great that you guys are here. We will get to your questions in just a little bit, but we want to start off by having a short discussion on something that we think is going to help you guys become a better basketball player, maybe cut out some of the learning curve that, plagues people when they're first getting started in basketball, or maybe they're more advanced, but they just haven't figured this part out yet. But while we're doing that, you guys are sending us questions. So anything you want to talk about that's basketball related, shooting, passing, dribbling, defense, how to talk to your coach, vertical jump, athletic training. I've done this rundown 500 million times, but anything that you guys want to talk about, let's do it.
All right.
Okay, so our topic for today is why you're not getting better.
There's a number of reasons that players don't get better in the off season. One of the things that we would start off with.
Well, hold on. Let's set the scene here first.
Okay.
So, there's a lot of people, they play basketball. They feel like they play it all the time.
Right.
They feel like they practice a lot.
Yep.
They feel like they're invested, but they still don't get better.
Right.
They've been playing for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years,
Yep.
and they kind of just are staying the same.
Right.
And maybe other people around them are getting better, and they're not seeing their improvement.
Sure.
So for that person, that's kind of what this discussion is about.
Right.
We want to help you figure out how to go from that person that is kind of stagnating to the person that is actually making those steps and progressing forward, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's a number of things that we could consider, but one of the things that is so important is that you have to remember in the off season, not just a time for you to go play. It is a time for you to develop your game so you have more weapons when you do play. And oftentimes what happens is that we're satisfied. We just had a lesson a few minutes ago with two guys, and they're both getting ready. When they finish here, they're going up to a court locally where they're going to play against some college guys, and they're challenging themselves. And so by doing that, that's how you get a little better. And you get a little better each time you play. So it's important for you to challenge yourself and not just take and relegate yourself just to play games. They spent over an hour here just working on ball skills, working on the shooting skills, defensive skills, and now they're ready to go up and see if they can put those into use.
So that part is where we're talking about kind of having a more comprehensive approach.
Yeah.
You can't just do one thing and hope that it translates into your progressing as a player.
Right.
So a lot of times we talk about the 3 pillars of practice when we're talking about this stuff. And the third pillar of that, the last pillar, is game experience.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's when you go out and you take all the things that you learned and put together in the first 2 pillars into practice. But if that's all you do is go play games, then it's hard to progress and develop any skills.
Yes.
Like you learn how to run up and down the court. You might occasionally kind of get something that's working for you, but you aren't working on your shooting. You aren't working on your ball handling. You aren't working on your defense. All of those things take time outside of games to develop.
Exactly right. And the thing that's real important is to remember this, is that if we take and start next season at the same place we were when the last season ended, we're probably not going to be much improved at all. And so it's really important for you to develop some skills. And so the skills are something that you work on. And a lot of people learn in different ways. They go to the internet. They have personal trainers maybe that they work with.
They use their own mind to develop things.
Exactly. You know, it's kind of funny. I run into students every once in a while who have kind of taught themselves how to do these things. And maybe it's like today we're working on a retreat dribble where we retreat and attack, you know. And this one little guy, he had that figured out already. And so he moved along really quickly. The other one it was all new to him. And so that was really different. But now what they're doing is they're developing these little pieces that are going to be who they are as players this upcoming season and the seasons after that.
Yeah. So
they're just working on getting better and not just going and playing.
So a lot of that is having a purposeful approach to your practice.
Yeah.
So you can't just go in and play games and hope that it happens.
Yeah.
You also can't just go in and hope that doing a shoot around, playing a game of horse, doing some knockout, doing some trick shots, those don't pay off when it comes to playing in the game.
Exactly.
So you have to have a purposeful approach to when you get into practice. You got to get down, you got to do the 3 pillars of practice. So, you know, the first pillar is the really diligent, broken down, slowed down stuff. So
where you learn.
So it's like if you're doing shooting, that's the form shooting drill. So you're working slowly, you're putting everything together. Second pillar is game speed, game intensity work. You're upping that so that you're doing it at the intensity that you would in the game. Adding in a defender, you're doing it up to speed. You're, catching off the dribble or catching off the pass and going up into shot. You're doing it off the dribble. All these different things that are going to prepare you for the game. Third pillar, obviously, is game experience. But when you go into practice, you have to have the approach that, okay, I'm not just going to go shoot around. I'm going to do 50 shots from here, 50 shots from there. I'm going to make sure that I'm addressing my catch and shoot. I'm going to make sure that I'm doing my attacks off the dribble. You have kind of a purposeful approach.
Right.
That way, you're going to get that stuff done, and you'll be able to progress. And you also have a plan, so you're being efficient with your time. And you know I think that's a super important thing. And younger people don't really do that so much because you're not really kind of programmed to do that until you get a little bit older, in other areas of your life. So that's one of those things. If you're a young person and you want to get better, have practice plans.
Yeah, exactly right.
Right?
You know, it's kind of interesting for me is that I was growing up, that was another time period certainly, but we never really had any outside of basketball training to speak of. We'd go shoot around a little bit, and then when you got to junior high school, maybe you got some coaching there and maybe not so much. But I know that we weren't nearly as skilled as the players today. And so the players today are more skilled for a lot of reasons. One of the reasons is that they spend time developing those skills to make them better.
Well, I think the other thing too is that it's more year round,
Yes.
and also you guys played many more sports. Like you
yeah.
played 4 or 5 sports, whereas
Yeah.
like I played 1 or 2.
Right.
You know,
That's true. Everybody played multiple sports, and
so that actually comes down to the next interesting part of this is that you have to be consistent.
Yeah.
A lot of times, like people from like my dad's era, they would play basketball during the basketball season. As soon as basketball ended, that was it, and then they waited until the start of the season again, right? Unless you were doing like pickup games or whatever, but basically that was it.
Yep.
So you can't really do that and hope that when you pick up again at the beginning of the next season that you're going to be where you were at the end of the last season.
Exactly.
You have to address that stuff. You got to polish it. And consistency is huge. It's one of those things where if you take a few days off, things start to go a little haywire.
Well, yeah, they do. They get a little wonky because you haven't spent time on trying to seal them up as part of what you can do. And so you want to stay consistent. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't take a day off here or there, or maybe even 2. But if it starts to string out into many days or a week or so, then you're going to find that there's going to be a fallback period where you're going to regress until you get back into it again.
And that's okay every once in a while.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
if you are going on a family vacation or whatever, that's cool to take a break.
Yep.
And if you come back, it's going to be a little bit, knocking the rust off, but you'll be fine. Some people that are super dedicated, they'll bring the basketball with them on the plane. They'll make sure, whatever. They're at Disneyland dribbling a basketball. But being consistent is important. So instead of just working on your shot on Monday and hoping that when you play your game on Saturday it's going to be there, you're working on your shot Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're going to be there on Saturday. And that also means, one of the ways that we talk about practice is you don't want to do everything on one day
Yeah.
and then hope that it's going to be there days later.
Yeah.
Doing a 4-hour chunk on Monday is not as good as doing a 30-minute or 20-minute chunk on Monday, 20 Tuesday, 20 Wednesday, 20 Thursday, 20 Friday. It's better to do that broken up small chunk that's consistent.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
and you don't lose your focus too. Sometimes what we do is we get a little gassed, a little tired, and we lose interest in what we're doing. Whereas if you break up into smaller sections, we tend to stay more on task, and that's where we're going to make a little bit more progress.
Yeah, and one of the things that our good friend Alan Stein always says is you want to take quality shots from quality spots.
Yes.
So it's not like you're just shooting at the elbow and you're just putting those shots up. Those shots count.
Yes,
So
they
you
do.
want to get ones that are good. You want to make sure the mechanics are right. You want to make sure that you are also addressing game speed, game intensity, and you want to make sure that they're going in. Because you could practice and shoot 50 shots, and if you make 3,
Yeah. That
What-
means
what
there's
are-
something wrong.
what are
There's
you
something
achieving
wrong.
with that?
Yeah. And what is wrong? Well, maybe your mechanics are not very operational. It could be that maybe you're shooting the ball from deeper than you really could or should. It could mean that, what are some other reasons?
well, I mean, there's a ton.
Strength.
Just,
I mean, there's
just
a lot of reasons that would cause you to kind of fall apart on your shot.
efficiency breaking down. There's so many things.
Yeah.
But that's the other thing. Be your own best coach and be able to figure that stuff out.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so kind of the last thing that I can think of is that you want to push yourself. So many people don't want to feel uncomfortable. They don't want to challenge themselves. They feel good about, okay, this is what I do at my practice. I don't want to feel uncomfortable. I want to just get my shots and get out of there, or I want to get my ball handling workout and get out of there. And then they wonder why they never get better.
Yeah.
Same thing is true when it comes to playing pickup games and getting game experience. It's like, okay, I feel good at this playground court. I know these people. I can handle myself here. I'm going to go do that.
Yes.
Worst thing you can do is to get stuck in that cycle.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Exactly right. The 2 young guys that we had here earlier this morning have been playing at a local court where the players are not as skilled. And there's some older players and some young players. And so they've recently changed locations where there are more college kids who are playing. And so they're finding that the college kids are more challenging to them and will help them get better. That's important.
And you adapt too.
Exactly.
You figure out ways to be able to challenge those people that are better, bigger, faster, whatever.
Yep, absolutely.
And so you need to get pushed to move forward.
Yeah.
And if you're just not pushing yourself, nobody's going to come in and hold your hand and walk you across that threshold. You have to,
Unless you're 6'10", Casey, and then they might do that.
that's actually true, but you need to don't rely on anybody else. Push yourself. And that comes down to playing against people that are better than you. And it also comes down to pushing yourself in your practice. It shouldn't feel comfortable. Your shooting mechanics and stuff should feel comfortable. Your ball handling mechanics should feel comfortable after you've worked on them.
Sure.
But when you are practicing that stuff, make it difficult.
Yes.
Challenge yourself. And there's a mental aspect of that too. If you're challenging yourself mentally, okay, I'm going to take 30 perfect shots from this spot. I'm not going to allow my mental side of this breakdown. I'm going to stay focused, and I'm going to make sure that I keep pushing myself towards that.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Good calls. Yep.
Okay. Can you think of anything else for that?
I think that says it pretty good.
I think that's one of the biggest ones is
Yeah.
pushing yourself.
Yeah,
Because we
yeah,
get
yeah.
so complacent and we get comfortable. That's not where you want to be to progress.
Well, yeah, and one of the things that happens is sometimes we're not very motivated, and so we kind of slack off and don't practice very hard. Hey, the players who are great players or the players who are very good players spend time getting better. And that's really what we're talking about here. We want you to get better, and so set yourself a program to do that.
Yep. And if you guys have more questions about that, we would gladly jump in on that. But I think that's probably a good one. We got a bunch of questions from you guys, so we'll jump right into answering those. But before we do that, so we won't jump right in. We want you guys to give us an answer first.
Okay.
We have a question that we ask every week when we do these shows,
Yep.
and we want to know this one thing. This is the question of the week.
Yep.
What is it?
Where are you from in the world?
That's right. We are here in Santa Cruz, California, which is on the coast south of San Francisco. But we want to know, are you guys from South Africa? Are you guys from Canada? Are you guys from the Philippines? Are you guys from
Lithuania. Okay.
Yeah,
That's not intended to be funny, really. I mean, we love those guys, and
Lithuania is just a huge basketball community.
It is. It really is.
But we love seeing where you guys are from,
Holy
and
mackerel.
it's really exciting. So let's hit up a few of these people that are leaving their comments here. Okay, we have Olii, who's here all the time from the UK. Jasminder is from India. Cam, I think Jasminder's here all the time too. Cam is from the Chicago suburbs. Ernest is from Ireland. We got another person from Ireland. All right. Death to Star Trek fans is from India. Wow, that's heated. Let's see. John Fireflame is from the USA, Texas. Mike Garcia is from New York. Ahmad is from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We've seen Ahmad here before. Andri is from Estonia.
Right.
Dustin is from Seaside, Oregon. Dane James is from Grenada.
Wow.
I don't know is from Toronto, Canada. Cool. So keep sending those in to us, you guys. And if you could, go out to your local courts and talk to your family and friends, anybody that's into basketball, tell them about Shot Science Basketball. That would be super cool.
Yeah.
And also, check out shotscience.com. We got lots of cool stuff there.
Yeah.
And you can represent Shot Science and get a shirt. That would be super cool. Okay, so let's get into answering some of these questions. Bleach is asking, my question is how to get an accurate floater.
You know, well, just kind of generally speaking, we have a video on floaters, and I'm not a big proponent of floaters because it's a very difficult shot to develop and then also to make. And so I don't know that I'm going to be able to give you any real guidance on that except practice.
Well, here's the thing is that we are not big fans of low percentage shots or lower percentage shots.
Yes, exactly.
We are big fans of creating space and getting open looks that are high percentage.
Yeah.
Any shot that's contested, the percentage of you making it goes lower, and then any shot where you are doing anything other than going straight up and down into your shot, it's going to be lower percentage. So you got two dings typically when you're doing a floater. Yeah. And you're moving, trying to hit that stationary target.
And you're usually facing a bigger player.
Yeah, you're trying to get it up and over somebody. There's so many complexities that could go wrong there.
Yeah.
So it's not our favorite thing to do. But
if you go to our video, you can see that we're demonstrating there, and maybe you can pick something up from that.
Yeah, and the basic thing is that you got to practice it, and you have to get the right footwork and mechanics and stuff.
Yep, all true.
But we would also suggest that you learn how to create space.
You know,
because if you could live your life and never shoot a floater and you still get those points, that's so much better for you.
Yep.
Okay. This one is from Naomi Leslie, who says, greetings from Malaysia.
All right.
Finally found the right time for the live stream. Not easy for overseas to get the right timing. Haha.
Yeah. That probably is a real difficulty.
We wish we could get the optimal time for everybody, but unfortunately, everybody's on a different time frame.
Yeah, truly.
But we're glad that you're here. Ahmad is saying, what can I do to get my jump shot form and accuracy better?
Well, spend time on it. One of the things that we kind of overlook sometimes is the fact that maybe our shot mechanics are not very good. And what I mean by that, maybe you could be shooting the shot from over your head, maybe from down here on your chest. Maybe you're shooting it and the assist hand is kind of screwing up the shot. There's a lot of reasons. So one of the things you want to do is analyze your shot. And how do you do that? Well, you can take a video of it, have somebody else while you're shooting, take the video of it from back, from front, and from the side, and you'll be able to discover, and then if you don't really know whether it's good or bad, then go to a site where you can find that information, like Shot Science Basketball.
Yeah.
And then you can maybe start to create some shot mechanics that are pretty good. We had a student today, he's in the 8th grade, tall, about 6 feet tall, really thin, came in with the worst shot ever. I mean, it was enough to kind of make me ill, okay, because he didn't know, okay. His father had heard about us and decided he wanted him to come to us. And so what we found is this. After we spent about 40 minutes with him just working on his skills and the proper execution of all of the elements of the shot, his shot started to dial in. And I mean, in the first 20 minutes or so, he couldn't hit anything. But by the time we got down to about a quarter of the hour, his shots started to fall. The mechanics started to look pretty good. They would fail, and then they would be there again. He'd pick it up because he mentally was challenging himself with that. And so what you really want to do if you're going to get better on something is make sure that you're going in the right direction with the elements of the shot or dribble or whatever it is, and then make sure that you have useful practices of it. One of the things that we oftentimes do when we're trying to shoot the basketball is oftentimes we get out of our range, our comfort range,
Yeah.
because we want to jack up threes. We want to be like that guy over there who's dropping threes on everybody. But the element of truth here is this, is that we need to start shorter. And if you go to our YouTube channel, you will find that we have a video there called the form shooting drill. And when you have that form shooting drill, that's a point how you can really focus on developing those elements for your shot to make you a better shooter.
Yeah, you can't rush your progress. You need to really make sure that you're doing the work. And we always talk about the 3 pillars of practice, which we just talked about. Number one pillar and the number one thing you should do for shooting is the form shooting drill. Yeah. Make sure your form is where it needs to be. And one of the things, too, that you're talking about here is form and accuracy. That comes down to making sure you have the most efficient shot possible.
Exactly.
So many people have little hitches or little bumps or jiggles or whatever the heck it is that they do. Got to eliminate all that.
Yeah.
It needs to be the easiest, smoothest, most, least complex movement you can make it.
Yeah, really. And, one of the things that we find is that sometimes the shooters will finish the shot by letting their hand rotate out to the side. Sometimes they'll pull their arm down and it'll be a flat shot. But what you need to do is get a clean shot and then really work on it.
Yep. 3 pillars of practice. Yep. That form shooting drill is going to be important.
Yep.
Okay, Death to Star Trek fan says, what is the perfect team workout plan for you?
Oh gosh,
there is no perfect workout team thing.
Truly,
it depends on the team you're working with, right?
Well, yeah, and we could spend the next 5 hours kind of talking about what that might be, and of course, we're not going to go that long, but.
What are some important elements if you're a coach putting stuff together? The important elements
of every practice kind of follows this in my mind. Number one, we want to make sure that we get everybody warmed up, and we try to use drills that we think will be efficient for them. Everybody in the world seems like they warm up with layups. Well, we add to those layups. We do jump stops and finishes at the rim. We always do that. All right, then we want to take and spend some time on our ball skills. So maybe they'll be all, full court, and we'll spend time working on both hands. We never want to specialize just with one hand over the other. We want both hands to be very effective. Then we're going to take and work on shooting, and several types of shooting that are really important are these. We want to make sure that we can make layups. I was reading the other day, and I was kind of shocked, yet not shocked, that the shot that is most often missed in basketball is not the three-pointer, but it is layups, because very often they're under pressure and we don't do a very good job of finishing. And so then we take and spend some time just working on maybe rebounding. We work some time on playing one-on-one defense, and then spend time on a shell drill, maybe working on team defense. So those are just some thoughts that you might put in there.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that you have to keep in mind is that every team is going to be different. Every team is going to have different needs, and every coach is going to have different points of emphasis. And so a lot of times you'll find that coaches don't, and this is totally understandable too. They don't want to spend time working on your individual skill development.
Yeah, they don't have time.
Team practices are for the team, so it's not for let's work on Coach Tom's shot. Coach Casey can't dribble worth anything, so let's work on that. They don't have time for each person, so it's about the team. So a lot of times you're going to see kind of a very more team approach to that stuff.
Exactly.
Maybe one day we'll maybe do something that is a video showing some of the stuff that might work for the team. That's just hard because we need to get a bunch of people together, but we can maybe do something like that. Okay. So there is no perfect one. 7 Antoine says, how do you deal with playing on a high school team, but your coach is mean? It's hard to get better and around a coach you don't like.
Yeah, that's a tough question. Usually be my guess that some of those people who you kind of view as mean maybe aren't as mean as you think they are. One of the things that can really help you is to take and spend some time with that coach. And you're thinking, well, why would I do that? He's awful. He's mean to me. But if you have a little run into him on the campus or something, hey, coach, how you doing? And start a little conversation with him. What do you think about the team this year? Blah, 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 blah. And you kind of break the ice, and he finds out that you're not a donkey, and then he begins to respond more positively to you. And I think that probably is a good way to start. But the thing is, I can't remember in my coaching tenure, which was pretty extended, that I ever had more than maybe 2 or 3 kids over all of those years that were guys that were just kind of jerks that I didn't like. And I say that in all truth, that the very, 2 or 3, like I say, that I didn't like. And I didn't like them because they had thought about only themselves. They were taking the team in the other direction. They were not helping us solidify as a unit, let's say. And so I didn't really care for them. Only one occasion I can remember that I discharged somebody because they were being like that. But the thing is, probably that coach is a nicer guy than you think he is if you just get to know him. Go up and strike up a conversation. What do you think about this season this year, Coach? Do you think we have the players who can maybe get it done this year? And just soft talk.
Well, I was going to say, like, a lot of times, sometimes there are coaches that are mean, and you just got to deal with it. Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to have some kind of sit down chat with them, and they're going to change?
Yeah,
no way.
Yeah.
So you just you got to do what you got to do, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes coaches have different coaching approaches, and like you said, they can be different people off the court than they are on.
Yeah.
And a lot of times there is that kind of drill sergeant approach that people think gets things done. And, I had a football coach that was a basketball coach for my JV season. And he coached like he was a football coach. And it was a lot of yelling and a lot of punishments for doing mistakes and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it was. But, what are you going to do? You got to kind of just deal with it.
Yeah.
If you sit there and worry about it and feel, have a pity party about it, that's what's not going to get you better or make the thing go by and be fun.
Yeah, well, another thought that kind of goes along with that. Coaches are people, just like all of us are. And they pick up on negative body language really quick, probably quicker than the players do. And if they sense that you're somehow or other being a negative force on the team, then they may take steps and maybe chewing you out or being hard on you because they think you're taking the team in another direction. Soften up, and you may find that he's a much nicer person, or she. I don't know if it's a he or she.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you guys have questions that you want answered, for sure, the best way to do that is to use the super chat option. Otherwise, I don't think we're going to get to everybody because there's so many questions.
There's a ton there today, yeah.
So if you want to do the super chat, that's probably the best way to get our attention. But let's go back here. We got Christian Thompson who says, I have a tournament tomorrow. What should I focus on in particular?
Okay, here's what I would tell you. Play as hard as you can play. Because when you play all out, offense or defense, you are more effective than you are if you take and focus on one or two things.
Yeah.
And coaches love players who play with effort. And oftentimes I'll talk to my players and I'll say, today you have a huge E on your chest. And I'll take and go over and on the chest, I'll put with my finger, I'll outline an E. And the reason is you are playing with great effort. And great effort usually results in very positive outcomes for you and your team.
Yeah.
Play hard.
And here's the thing: you cannot do anything skill development wise in one day.
No.
That is not possible. And so hopefully you've done the work to kind of get that where it needs to be. If you want to have something, actually you can do, one of the things is effort, initiative, leadership skills, things like that.
Yeah,
those are the
great
things
stuff.
that you can do in one day. Anything else, it's not the time to really force it.
It's too late. Yeah.
It's too late for that tournament. It's not too late for working on after the tournament. So that's what we would say to that. No need to stress on skill development the day before. I mean, it is what it is. So good luck with that. Hi Bye says, how can I increase my vertical? I'm 6'7" and I can't dunk yet. What's the best exercise, coach? We have multiple places where you can find information on vertical jump. We have our vertical jump stuff that is here on our YouTube channel. You can also go to shotscience.com and we have the all access members area where we have vertical jump training in one of the sections there. Along with that, at shotscience.com, we have the training gear that you guys can get, where we have the vertical jump box, which has a bunch of training gear in it, like the foam roller, the jump cords, the resistance bands, the foam roller. Did I say that already? And then you can also get some of that stuff individually as well. But that's kind of the directions that we would tell you to go. So you can go to shotscience.com and check that out.
Yeah.
And, there's tons of exercises that we'd recommend, and that's where we put them. We can't just tell you one right here. Let's see here. I think there's a few up here. James Rodriguez is from Sacramento, California.
Right. Hello, James.
Naomi says, what kind of practice plan would you recommend, Coach, from Monday to Sunday? Sometimes I don't even know what to practice, when to dribble, when to shoot, when to practice scoring moves, etc.
Well, we kind of address that almost every week. And what would be a really good idea for you is to take and sit down and list the things that you could be working on. And then make a practice plan that follows maybe this format. All right, on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm going to work on these drills, these skills, and then list them down. Okay, maybe I'm going to go 15 minutes just on my ball skills on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Okay, and make a list of things for that day. Then on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, you maybe have a list of things that maybe are defensively oriented, and make a list of those. And do it by time. If you've got an hour or hour and a half, let's say, list it out. 15 minutes this, 10 minutes that, 20 minutes this. And you can create your own schedule there that will probably be very effective for you. Not only that, you learn more about the basketball game when you do that. And you're probably wondering, well, how do I learn more? Well, you begin to see how all those parts come together to develop you as a player on a basketball team.
Yeah, and one of the things too, you want to have each day be comprehensive. So you work a little bit on your shooting, a little bit on ball handling, a little bit on defense, a little bit on conditioning, free throws. Everything is being addressed each day, and you're picking very specific drills and exercises to use. Maybe you don't use the same ones the next day, but you're kind of addressing everything, because you don't want to shoot, like we said, on Monday, work on your shooting, and then on Saturday hope that your shooting's there.
Yeah,
it doesn't work that way.
It won't be there.
And the other thing is, you can go on our channel and you can go to shotscience.com, and we have drills in both of those places. So you can start, to put together a list of that stuff, and you can make the program that is appropriate for you. Every person is going to be different. Maybe you're struggling with this aspect, like shooting or free throws or whatever, but you're not struggling with this. So you can tailor it to yourself a little bit, and it's going to take some experimentation to find like what works best for you. Yeah. So we can't tell you the best practice that you could do. And if anybody's telling you this is the best approach to practice you can take, they don't know you. They're not working with you. No. So you need to kind of start putting that together yourself. Are you struggling with developing your weak hand? Well, there's drills for that. And so that should be incorporated. So that's kind of what we would say. Make a plan ahead of time, and you're going to be good. So maybe you need to put subsections in each day, like shooting, shooting off the dribble, shooting out the pass, ball handling, whatever it is, free throws, and make sure you have stuff for each one of those things. Okay. Jasminder says, lots of my passes are getting intercepted. What should I do?
Okay, that's a pretty easy one. Usually when we're, and this is the thing that drives me kind of crazy about teams, is how passing is so much overlooked in coaching, I think. And generally, and yet it is one of the key points to offensive basketball. You have to be able to pass the ball. And so one of the things that happens is that we tend to give away passes with our eyes. We turn and we look right at the person that we think we'd like to throw the ball to, and by the time we get ready and throw the pass, somebody else has read that and they step right in front of it and they're gone the other way. One of the things that we teach our players, and we really insist on this, is that before we make a pass, we want to fake a pass in another direction. And so that is our byword: fake a pass to make a pass. And when you do that, I look this direction to fake that one, and that defender moves, then I get the opening where I can throw it to the person that I want to throw it to. And the other thing, let me take just a moment, passes need to be very crisp.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Because oftentimes we throw those little floaters, and I see this, and it's probably not a fair thing to say, I'm not going to say it then, is that we tend to throw these little mushrooms, balloons from one player to the other, that if a person were standing back and they had to get into their wheelchair, they could still get out there and intercept the ball because it's going so slow, okay? I know.
Oh boy.
All right.
There goes PC.
Okay.
But
Okay.
but yeah, it's true. If you're passing those little loopers, I mean, the coach could run off out
Oh
of the
yeah,
court
yeah.
and steal the ball.
Yeah, he could do it too.
So it's one of those things where you need to have. You can't tell people where you're going to pass it, and then when you pass it, you can't throw it up in the air like it's a jump ball.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and it takes a little bit of work, but that fake a pass to make a pass is a big deal.
It is. It is. It really saves your bacon, believe me. What is that one there?
James Rodriguez says, "How do I get to finish around the rim?"
Hey, we've got a video on YouTube that gives you 9 finishes at the rim, where you actually attack the rim, and many of them you jump stop, and they demonstrate in those videos how to finish against bigs.
You just have to have the tools from that video, and then also you got to be ready to take some contact and focus on the finish. Dane James says, "How to remove your thumb in basketball on both hands?" Remove your thumb.
You don't want to remove your thumbs. I think what you're really saying is get them off the basketball when you shoot. Well, on the shooting hand, you want that thumb to be in contact with the basketball, because this allows you, when the thumb and the little finger, they actually can squeeze the basketball and hold it. If you have the ball lying flat on your palm, there is no, and the ball can just come out of there really easy. So by spreading that thumb, you control the ball. Now, on the other hand, which we refer to as the assist hand and not the guide hand, because what happened, the guiding of the basketball with the offhand is a total fallacy. It doesn't happen. What happens
if it does, it's a problem.
Yeah, it is. And what happens usually is that we'll swipe at the ball with the non-shooting hand, and it causes the ball to go right, and they cause it to go left, but not straight. And so the really good shooters, what happens is they get ready to shoot, and that hand separates from the ball as you get close to delivery of the ball.
And even if somebody is making a case for, oh, that's an important part, is letting the thumb have a, it's not, because if you think about it, it's adding another level of complexity that is hard to repeat and recreate each time you take a shot. It's another input on the path of the basketball. You want to eliminate that stuff. You want to make it as simple as possible.
Yep.
You should be able to shoot threes one-handed.
Well, and we practice that a lot too with our shooters, the new shooters. We have them shoot the basketball with just one hand after they kind of have the elements down, showing them that we don't need that other hand in there.
And when you come, if you have your arm in the right place and you're extending up as you come up, the ball is going to come off, and your thumb is basically the first thing it comes off of, and then the little finger, and it should come off of these two fingers last. So if it's coming off like this, that's a problem. So you want to extend up and have it come off of those two fingers first.
And remember that the so-called guide hand is your worst enemy when you're shooting the basketball. If you keep that thumb on there too long, it's not going to be an accurate shot most of the time.
Yeah, if you let it elevate with your shooting hand. This is from Bleach. She said, "I changed my shooting form multiple times. How can I get a shot form that is consistent and will not require much change?"
Well, we don't know what your shot looks like right now, so we can't tell you if it would need a lot of change or maybe just some few little things. What we would recommend is this: is that you go to our shotscience.com
our website, all access area.
Okay, or go to our YouTube, where we have videos that really tell you all the important elements of shooting the basketball.
Yeah, we'll go to shotscience.com because we really break that down and we show you specifically the things that you need to have to make it the most efficient shot possible. And, a lot of times, people want, they want to change their form around, have a few tweaks. And sometimes you just need to start from the ground up and start it over. And that will be, something where you need to just put all the pieces in place. And that's a good place to start. Remember, most efficient, least complex shot. Cut out all the variables you don't need. That's the best approach.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, this is from I Don't Know, who says, "In your opinions, what are the most effective moves in a one-on-one fast break?" One-on-one fast break. For me, it's going to be a hesitation dribble, or maybe an in and out.
Okay.
Or a jump stop if you get down there.
Yeah, when you get in closer to the basket, if you jump stop, then there are some finishes at the rim that you can use that can be really effective. Now, we're anticipating that you're talking about a defender between you and the basket. If they are running alongside of you, we take them right to the hole and we try to leverage them a little bit. And leveraging is something we're not going to take and talk about today, but is using your body to kind of move into them to create a little space for you to get the shot off of. That's when they're running alongside of you. Another thing that works really good is they're running alongside of you, make that jump stop. Do they know you're going to do that? No. And so they usually will overrun you. Then you go right up and finish that shot, okay?
Okay, we got Zeno who says, "Hey, y'all, greetings from Amsterdam."
All right, that's cool.
What's up? Let's see here. Matthew Tran says, "How do I stay calm in games? I usually get mad when someone fouls me, but I get no call. Also, how do I get my teammates going?"
Okay, boy, that's a load. First thing that you have to remember is this, is that if you're playing in a situation where you're constantly angry because of fouls possibly against
Things that you have no control over.
you're wasting all of that effort. Officials are not going to do you any favors, particularly if they see that your body language is negative when they make a call. You're not going to get any calls that are going to be in your favor the rest of the game. You can count on that.
Whiners don't get whistles.
Yeah, and so the thing you need to do is let it be, and don't get, you think that if you get pissed that they're going to take and change the call? Ain't going to happen.
And here's the other thing. You're saying that you get mad when someone fouls you and you get no call. You're going to get fouled.
Oh, you are.
And you're also going to get missed calls.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
And the people that become the great players, they aren't the ones that sit there and dwell on that stuff. It does not matter in the long run. What can you do about it? Typically, a referee is not going to reverse their call. They're not going to take a step back and say, "Oh, I missed that one. Let's fix that." Yeah. That doesn't happen. So, you can be frustrated by it. Whatever. Use that to come down the next time and actually get a score, make an opportunity.
That and the fact that you have lost your focus because you're worrying about something that happened that you cannot change.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's one of the things I always talk about too, is that people get so worried about the past and the future.
Yeah.
You got to worry about what the present is.
Yeah.
That's what matters. You can't worry about the missed call back there and the missed shot. You can't worry about making the shot next time or if the ref's going to get the next call. Yeah.
Well,
that's not your place in the game.
And remembering this, that anytime that officials, and I think most all of them have the best intentions. I don't think that I can't think of anybody that comes to my mind that I think that guy really screwed us tonight because he didn't call anything on this guy or that guy. I don't feel that way at all. I feel like sometimes I get frustrated because too many fouls are maybe called against us and not of the other team. But the thing is, don't let that affect how you play. Let it go, because you will actually play better if you'll just let go of all of that stuff. And how do you get your team going? When you get your team going, it's when you're not down in the gutter worrying about what call you didn't get, but instead you're giving this guy a high five when you go by him, and let's go, let's get it.
That's what I was going to say, is that, and how do I get my teammates going? Well, it's not what you said in the first sentence.
No.
And think of somebody like Kawhi Leonard or even Steph Curry or people that just, they let that stuff like roll up their backs. Kawhi Leonard is probably the best example. I'm sure that guy gets clubbed all the time, and he gets calls that aren't called for him. He's not given the LeBron treatment, and so he gets up and he runs back down the floor. He's not in the ref's face. He's not pouting. He's just playing at the highest level without that kind of issue.
Yeah.
And that really does make him better. It makes his team better. It makes people that are watching the game like that guy.
Yeah.
You can sit in the stands and you can see the people that you probably don't like are the ones that are just kind of complainers. So,
oh gosh, I guess LeBron falls into that one, doesn't he?
Well, we're not going to get into that.
All right.
I just saw one that I wanted to do here. Let's see. Let's do this one from Hi-Bye. He says, "I don't understand why I can't comfortably shoot threes without worrying about airballing. It's either brick or air all when I shoot threes. I'm easily strong enough to shoot it from that far, though."
There's probably some elements of your shooting mechanics that are not really what they need to be. And what you need to do is, we mentioned this earlier today, is take and do a video of yourself, front, back, and both sides, and just watch to see what you do. And then go to one of our videos where we talk about the elements of shooting and see how close you're coming to that, because there probably is a real breakdown, maybe at one or several points in your shooting stroke.
Okay. And Ernest is asking, how do I increase my shooting range? I think both of these questions are basically the same. So if you're not comfortable shooting from that range, that means you haven't put in the work to make it consistent.
And you shouldn't be shooting from that range.
Yeah. And so you need to work on progressing your range back.
Right.
And so many people, like we talked about before, they like to shoot the 2-footer and then step back and shoot the 20-footer.
Yeah.
And that leaves a whole kind of middle distance that breaks down in terms of your shooting range. And so when we talk about developing range, you need to start with the form shooting drill, work very close in, work in that 2, 3, 4 foot shot, and you work that all the way around the key there in different spots. Master that area, take a step back. Master that area, take a step back. Master that area. And it's not just that you're making them, it's that you're making them every single time. And then you take a step back.
Your mechanics are very clean every time you shoot that.
And every time you do that, you're going to keep your mechanics where they need to be each time you step back.
Exactly.
Instead of shooting from 3 feet, shooting that looks perfect, and then you get back to 20 feet and everything is a heave. And that's not good.
Yeah, when we start stretching the shot a little bit away from the basket, what we need to do is make sure that we're getting our legs into the shot. Probably one of the biggest shortcomings in most shooters is the fact they don't get their legs with the proper power into it. We like to talk in terms of power of our body, that our shoulders and arms and whatnot generate about 20% of the power that we need for shooting, which is not very much really. And the other 80% comes from our core muscle groups and the large muscles of our lower body.
Well, and here's the other thing too, is like, why would you practice a shot that is not working for you? You know, if I'm shooting something that is always an air ball or always a brick, I'm going to be like, what is happening here? I need to fix this. I would take a step, or I would step in. If it was me, I would go to the very beginning and work on getting that progression right. And it might take you a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month to get to where it needs to be so you can get back there. But at least you did the groundwork. And the benefit of that is that you can make those shots with the right mechanics, but you can also make the mid-range shots with the right mechanics too. And your shot should be the same no matter if you shoot it from 2 feet or 20 feet.
Yeah, exactly right.
Okay. That was a major rant session.
Okay.
Here's one from Matthew Tran, who says, oh no, we already did that one from Matthew Tran. Let's see here. And he says, thank you. Naomi likes the LeBron treatment comment.
She likes what?
The LeBron treatment comment.
We have a follower there.
Christian Thompson asks, how do I get better chemistry with my teammates? A lot of that comes down to just playing with those guys and playing with kind of the characteristics that we mentioned in the how to make the team video.
Well, that and learn how to be a good teammate.
Well, yeah, that's what I think plays into that, is those stuff.
Yeah, it does.
Those things.
And there are a lot of little things about being a teammate that people oftentimes forget about. Be very supportive of your teammates, even when things fall apart for them. One of the things that oftentimes happen is somebody misses 4 or 5 shots, and then other people start to get on them about don't shoot anymore, or that kind of thing. When in reality, they don't mean to miss. Okay, and they probably will pull back if they think that they're really not being very successful anyway. But being a good teammate really solidifies a team, not just a couple of people, but a team, and support everybody from top to bottom. And the guys who need an awful lot of support? Those guys who sit there on the bench and don't get to play, or they only get to play 2 or 3 minutes a game. Those guys really need it. When they come off the floor, you're up there congratulating them, patting them on the back. Great job, great job. Even if they had 4 turnovers, hey, great job. All right. And so when you begin to get more positive stuff coming out toward your teammates, then they start to open up, and now some of that is going to be coming back. And so this is all bouncing around amongst all the members of the team. Okay, that's really important for just team unity. Okay,
Christian Thompson says, my parents are going to be watching me. How do I warm up and get ready? Who cares? That's
Well, hold it.
It's your warm up.
Why do you care about what your parents think about you warming up? Are they at practice every day? Do they go and watch you practice every day? Do they watch you go through warm-ups every day? Hey, this is, this is problem. Now I'm going to be quiet on that.
I think one of the things that you need to consider is that your parents are not going to make judgments on you about how you warm up and all that stuff.
Well, they might, but
who cares if they
they're
do?
not worth listening to if you feel like they're being demeaning, putting you down, putting your team down, or anything like that. Okay.
But the other thing is that you can't worry about that stuff when you're going into a basketball game. You can't worry about what other people are doing, thinking, or saying, and it should not affect you. That's like that girl over there is looking at me, and I'm worried about if my hair looks good. And it's like, what does that matter if you're not playing well? If that affects your playing, that's not going to help you. So you got to get over that kind of stuff.
Well,
and hopefully your parents are supportive, and it's like, why would they care what you're doing?
Yeah, well, I'm going to be a little snarky on this one.
Well, be careful here.
Okay. One of the things I think is really kind of important is this, that you sit down and maybe have a chat with your mom and dad. And what would you talk about? Well, I wanted to talk to you about some of the things that you say to me about how I'm playing or what I'm doing.
Well, they weren't saying that was, hold on. They weren't saying that was technically happening.
Okay. And then when that part of the discussion is over, what you might say is something like this. With all due respect to your comments and whatnot, you may think they're helpful, but they're not. And the thing that is really important here is you are not at practice every day. You don't know what we do in practice every day. And yet we're doing what our coaches are directing us to do. And we're trying to do that the best that we can. So it'd be really cool if you could kind of save those comments. And then if you want to talk about them at home or something like that, we can do that. But you're just not in the know on this. And so it makes it a lot easier for me if you just don't give me a hard time over things that you really don't know about.
Yeah, and parents, like, I don't know how many parents are actually watching this, but parents should really not be there as coaches.
Yes.
Especially if they are not the coach.
Yeah.
If you are in the stands, you need to only be doing supportive, cheering, and not being a spectacle for your kid.
Or yourself.
Because a lot of times that ruins it for the kid. They're self-conscious about things that you're saying. And typically, the people that are in the stands don't know what the heck they're talking about.
Yeah, they don't know as much as they think they know.
Yeah. Okay. And so if you're a parent, the best thing you can do for your kid is chill out and support them, not coach them from the stands.
Absolutely.
Lots of unfortunate stories about that stuff.
They're true. What is Zeno saying there?
He's just responding to other people there.
Okay.
Let's see here. I saw one that I wanted to do. Where did it go? James Rodriguez says, I'm too slow to get past my defender, and if I do, I can never finish around the rim if there's a bigger defender helping.
Okay.
There's several things going on there.
Yeah. Let's talk about the first one. You can never get by your defender. If you take and go to our videos on YouTube, I think that's where they are, where we talk about dribble attacks. And we talk about when you are going to attack somebody off the dribble. In fact, I was just reading this in a college handbook today. The coach is telling his players the exact same thing, and that is this. You don't beat your defender necessarily with your feet. You beat them with that opening dribble. And we teach everybody that when you're going to take and attack somebody, the first step is a long step, and you're going to go right through their hip, okay? And they don't own that space beyond their hip, okay? And they don't have time to react to you, and oftentimes they'll bump you. And so we take a long dribble that gets us past that leg, a step, and then a long dribble that gets the ball out past them. And usually what happens, then they're forced to turn and run, and they become chasers after that. And so take a look at that long 1-on-1, and you'll find that'll help. Another thing that we have in there is the hammer drill.
We don't need to get into everyone.
Yep.
There's so many offensive tools that you can use, and so many people get caught up in having the quick first step and all that. You need to make the defender not know what you're going to do or anticipate that you're going to do something and you do something else. So whether that's a jab step or whether that's you attack off the long 1-on-1 and then you have another attack ready to go.
Right.
Whatever it is, they need to respect you, and you need to be able to shoot and attack so that they have to respect your shot and your attack.
Yep.
Because if not, they can take one or both away from you. So that's what I would say about that. And you have to work on that stuff and do the 3 pillars of practice on that stuff. And then this other part here, you say you can never finish around the rim if there's a bigger defender helping. Oh. Well, if you're drawing in the other defender, your teammate should be open. Yeah, so you shouldn't force a shot unless it's an opportunity to score and your other teammate doesn't have the opportunity.
Well,
right?
And if you go to our videos again and check out this one, finishes at the rim, we show you 9 different ways to finish against a big. Okay?
Yeah. Okay. So before we get out of here, we want to ask you guys our question, and then we're going to have another question that I have to think up right now while I'm saying this one. Our question for today is, where in the world are you guys from? So we want to know where you guys are. We're in Santa Cruz, California, but we want to know where you guys are. And then our second question is, we want to know one aspect of your game that you need to work on to get better. Our topic for today is why you're not getting better, but we want to know one aspect of your game that you need to work on to get better, to be a player that goes to the next level. So tell us where you're from and what that thing is, right? And we want you guys to please go check out shotscience.com, where we have all of our all-access training. So if you want to check that out. We have shooting and passing, or shooting and vertical jump stuff and dribbling and all that stuff there. It's more in-depth than the stuff that we do on YouTube. And if you want to get training gear, we have the jump box there. So that's to help train your vertical. It's a vertical jump training kit. And if you want to get some of the other pieces there, we sell them individually too. That helps support us in doing this stuff, and we would really appreciate it. If you guys want to get Shot Science shirts, like the Naismith is my homeboy shirt, and then the classic Shot Science shirt, we have those there. And if you guys use any of that stuff, like you wear the shirt or you use the training gear, if you post that stuff on social media and you do hashtag Team Shot Science, we love to see that. We search that and we see them, and we feature people that do that stuff. So we would love to see that. So please check out shotscience.com. Are you pointing at people? Or what's going on?
Well, I'm seeing Twisted Gremlins there from Santa Cruz. All right.
Yeah, nice. So that's where we're from.
Yeah.
So check out shotscience.com. Follow us on all our social media stuff. But we really appreciate you guys being here. If we didn't get to your question, it's not because we don't like you. It's because we ran out of time. But there's always next time.
Saskatchewan. All right.
All right. So we'll see you guys next time. Thanks a lot.
Guys. Thanks for coming by with us.
Bye.